Okay, first things first, you actually want to remove the speaker cover. You just use a pry tool, get on the side and pop it up, and that comes right out. It's going to be a little tricky to get out because you got to apply some pressure, but it pops out. And there's two screws on the sides and the back of the speaker. They are 7mm, so all we got to do is remove those. And this whole piece is going to pop out. There's some clips here as well. And then we'll have access to the back of the head unit. And then we can start removing the front trim piece. So let me get this off, and I'll show you what's next. All right, so we got the top trim piece removed. Up top here, there's going to be two 7mm, and this is what's actually holding the front trim piece in. So once we remove these, everything else is just held on by clips, and we can pop the whole front trim out, and we'll have access to the screws for the actual screen, the head unit there, unplug everything, and we'll be good to go to install the new one. So not hard at all. Highly recommend doing this yourself. It looks intimidating, but I promise you, if you follow my video, you'll be able to install this yourself and save a boatload. We got the main trim removed, the climate control, two plugs on the bottom. This pin is actually on the inside. Just push that in like that, pops out. The larger pin right here, I believe is 54 pin. It is right here. Just click on that, it comes out. The top for the hazards, as well as the traction control, the little pins you push in are on the side. Now we're going to be relocating these down to the bottom on the new unit. So we're going to pull those through and kind of unravel some of the tape to be able to pull it down, but there's enough slack there. Now you can see there are 6 7mm, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've already started loosening this one up. We're just going to loosen all of these. All right, so we got all the screws removed. Now we're going to simply slide out the actual screen. There's going to be some things plugged in the back, and we're just going to pull them off. So this is the radio antenna. They all have little pins. You can leave that one. And we have the large one here. So we're going to push this little pin in. Little gray tab slides over. And you slide that out, and then we got the unit out. So as you can see, we got it from Simply Michigan. And yeah, that's out. So next thing we actually have to do is down here, we have to remove the CD player. So we're going to be removing that next. Really simple. Same thing. There's 4 7mm. Remove that. 2 plugs behind there. That slides out. We can put everything aside. All right. Looks a little crazy, I know, I understand, but here's what we ended up not using. Now, I don't have the 360 camera, so I don't need this main harness. So this is the 54-pin reverse converter. Don't need it, because as you can see, we got the 360 camera label, the reverse camera input. This is the one that I don't need. So if you do have the 360, use this plug. Otherwise, you're just going to plug the main harness in, and you're going to be using, I believe it's this one, which is the 12-pin. Also, plug this box into the white plug there that's on the main harness. So that's aside. Here, we got the Wi-Fi antenna, so that just screws right into this gold screw right here, the antenna. So I'm just using the 12-pin reverse camera one, which is this Harmit, the camera inputs. I don't use any of these except for this yellow one, which is the factory camera input. And this plugs into the factory plug. Down here, we have all these wires, it's crazy. But we got the audio, RCA audio harness plugged in, and that's for the microphone. So I got that plugged into the mic. And then over here, this is for the SDFI output. Honestly, not sure if I need that. I don't think I do, but I plugged it in anyway, just in case. Back here, we have, underneath I should say, we have the USB. I'm actually hoping the factory USB works, but something tells me that it doesn't. Got this one plugged in, which is a USB and phone link. So this actually, I believe, oh wait, if I'm not mistaken, I think this plugs into the factory USB plug. So I think it works, we'll see. So I might not even need this one, the white one underneath here. Then we got the GPS antenna plugged into the blue one up here. The radio antenna plugged into the output underneath there. And then this one's already attached. I believe this is the SIM card. Oh, also, I have a 4G antenna plugged in. I don't get 4G, but I have it plugged in anyway. So that is it. Now you also get another 4G antenna, which you can kind of see in there, 4G. And that plugs, if you want, I don't know why you need 2. It plugs in that one. I don't think I need more than one. I'm not sure why there'd be 2. I don't know. We'll see. 4G doesn't work anyway where I live, so I'm not too worried about it. But let me go ahead, kind of get everything plugged in, show you what I need and don't need, and then we'll get to slapping it in and showing you how this thing looks. So don't get me wrong, I hate electrical, I hate wiring, I hate doing this stuff, but this is really simple when you kind of break it down and look at what you need. Everything is very clearly labeled, which is nice. All right, guys, so here we are. I've been playing around with it a little bit. I actually powered it up to make sure everything works. We're good. Looks really beautiful. We'll go over that in a second, but kind of wanted to show you the plugs and everything that I ended up using. I actually ended up removing a few things. So I ended up removing one of the USBs because I'm pretty sure the factory USBs work. I didn't need the reverse camera out because it's actually in a different harness, the reverse camera, so I don't need that one. I also removed the SPDIF output cable. Didn't need that. I believe that's for other things. I ended up putting in both of the 4G antennas. As you can see, I got one here, one here. I also have the Wi-Fi over here, or one of these. Jeez, getting confused here, but I have all the antennas plugged in. Apparently the 4G has a low and a high, so it's best to plug both of them in, so I did that. You want to make sure that you do the Wi-Fi one as well, because that wireless CarPlay will not work without that. Also, I ended up using the 54-pin harness. I don't have the factory 360 camera, but my plug is the 54-pin. Not sure of the reason, or if the truck is optioned with it. I just don't have the cameras. Maybe they just, I'm not really sure. But either way, I ended up using the larger harness here that fit in here. Let's see, everything else just plugs into the respective spots. So the plugs down here that were in the bottom, they plug right into the bottom there. this harness plugged into, oh, this was the bottom in the CD player, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one was in the CD player. This one here did not end up plugging in. Now, there is a harness here that fits it, but when I plug that in, this is for a sub, which I do have. I have the factory kicker speaker, or the factory kicker sub, but when I plugged it in, this obviously didn't plug into anything, and it was causing some interference, but I left it unplugged and I tried it, and the factory, yeah, I got a little cut, sorry. The factory sub is working, so I guess it's routed through another harness working, so I don't know. I just left it unplugged because obviously I don't need it, so yeah, I'm not really sure about that one, but I left it unplugged. As for the radio, you're looking for the orange coax cable here that plugs into this. I have it unplugged right now because it was too tight, too taut, so I left it unplugged now, but that just plugs right into that hole right there. And then you got the radio, and I believe that's it. The rear camera's working, so we're all good there, but let me go ahead, get this all organized, get it behind in the dash here. I'm going to put all my antennas up here on the vents right here. Apparently that is the best place to put it for the best reception. This is for the speaker up here, the center speaker. My only advice is to put all the cables through one hole. Don't put them through both. It gets a little confusing and a little hard to kind of shove everything back there. So I put everything through the bottom. So it kind of just tucks underneath nicely. And oh yeah, also through my microphone over there, I just put it through the bottom hole there. Pulled off this little trim and I was able to pull it through, and I usually put it on the steering column there, but I'll show you everything once it's all said and done. I want to get this thing all organized, use some zip ties, clean it up, and then we can play around with the unit. All right, so I had the kicker subwoofer and I realized that it wasn't working. So I ended up plugging that one plug that I talked about I didn't plug in, and I plugged it into the auxiliary cable that we got going on here, the RCA auxiliary, plugged it into this one, the left one. Didn't matter left or right. I am getting a little bit of feedback when there's no music on. I hear a little bit of humming, but obviously when the truck's running, you're not going to hear that. So I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but this works. I was playing around with all the different connections and everything. I just wanted to mention that. I don't think many people run the kicker sub. I do, so I wanted to mention that. But all right, so I'm going to get this back in place, put everything neatly away, and then I can give you a little bit of a walkthrough on this finally.